Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're someone like me who gets spiritual time to time, but then picks up a book, starts reading it, but don't really complete it because you get distracted by something else comes in your life, personal life, professional life, or something else happens, and you never intend or you never basically finish your spiritual book reading, right? And I think if you're someone like me, then this is a great video for you. Firstly, we're going to discuss Bhagavad Gita, and which is interesting and which is very close to me. It's more like spiritual versus technology, which I really like talking about and reading about. So I think one of the cases is recently we've been so much distracted with, let's say, social media apps like Instagram, YouTube. We have like news headlines coming up on our phones constantly. We have like notifications coming on our phone constantly, right? And I think there are a lot of applications which demand our attention, and it or not, but it basically impacts our neural circuits. It impacts how we deal with our friends, our partners, our parents, and also how we deal with our job, right? And I think as when you start getting older, the number of people you can talk to in terms of, let's say, guidance keeps getting lower, right? Because everyone grows in a different what do you say, branch, you can call it. And I think your branch is very unique to yourself, so it's very difficult to get advice from someone who is not following the branch or who is not on the same branch that you are. So I feel in these situations, what we usually do is just go to, let's say, Reddit or Google and ask questions. Right now we have Chat GPT, we go there and ask questions, but all these questions are very much generic, I feel. And everyone might have heard of Bhagavad Gita, right? It's basically the Upanishads of Upanishads. That's what they call it. They call it like summary of Upanishads. It's basically a poem that Lord Krishna told to Lord Arjuna during the war of Kurukshetra, right? Arjuna was in a deep confusion because he was basically fighting his own relatives and he wasn't quite sure what to do. That's when I think he asked Krishna for advice, and that poem is right now called Bhagavad Gita. So, and also you might have heard people saying that anytime you have a question, no matter what generation you are in, that question definitely will be answered if you know Bhagavad Gita, or Bhagavad Gita has answers to all the questions, in other words, right? So in that case, I also started reading Bhagavad Gita, but eventually, again, as I said, something came up, I stopped reading it, and I never got to it. But then I thought, like, even if I read it like once, twice, or like thrice, I will still not be able to, like, I want to chat with Bhagavad Gita. Like, basically, I want Lord Krishna to be my like guide or like mentor, right? But how do I do that? And the one way I thought was, let me train a GPT on just Bhagavad Gita, and then all my advice, all my questions, I'll just ask that GPT, right? And in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can create a GPT specifically trained on Bhagavad Gita in just less than 5 minutes. If you have access to internet, if you have access to ChatGPT, I think you can do it within 5 minutes. But before starting with this project, I think I should first give a quick high-level introduction about how ChatGPT operates, right? So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, right? It's pretty mouthful, but in just short way, what it means is, it basically is right now scanning all of the internet, all of the text, PDF, videos, whatever you have it, right? It scans everything, it transforms that back to text, right? And that's what we call as corpus. Now, once it transforms everything into text, it then removes all the unnecessary words, for example, the, a, or, and. What it does is basically starts grouping those similar words together. For example, cat, dog, cheetah can be grouped together because they are all animals, right? Or for example, let's say villa, house can all be grouped together because they are more like shelters, right? So it's called, that's how the embeddings work. Not getting into details, it's again its own video, understanding how generative pre-trained transformers operate. But all in all, I want to say that like GPTs are trained on all of the data. So if you ask GPT about any advice, it will give you a very generic advice. You can still ask GPT that, hey, tell as if you are XYZ. Like, you can still create personas in your prompt, but still I don't find it that useful. So what I thought is, okay, GPT is trained on everything, but let me also tell it to be specialized in Bhagavad Gita or Vedas or Upanishads. and let's see how it does in that case, right? So let's quickly get started on how to start building this Bhagavad Gita GPT in less than 5 minutes. So I think the first thing here is to quickly go to Google, and as I mentioned, your GPT is trained on the text you give it. So let's try to find Bhagavad Gita text or PDF if we get it on the internet. So if we just do Bhagavad Gita English PDF, and we can go to this ISKCON Mangalore Kulai site. Once you go there, you will find this PDF, which is free and accessible to everyone, right? All we have to do is just download this PDF onto your PC. You can do it in multiple ways. Just print, save as PDF. There are 100 ways to print this, or print this, but save this as PDF. Once you save this as PDF, what you can do, I've already saved it as PDF. Once you go to ChatGPT, your GPT might seem or look different. Maybe you've not updated it, or maybe you have a different version than I do. I'm on a paid plan. I'm not sure if you are, but once you do that, I think the next step here is to quickly go to this explore GPT option, right? You can already see operator and 2 different new features by ChatGPT available on the left hand side. But for now, let's quickly go to explore GPT. So once you click there, you can see this screen where it's basically everyone's personalized GPT that they've created and just made it available to everyone, right? You can search for whatever GPT you want, but in this case, we are trying to create our own. So what we'll do is quickly go on this create icon on the top right. Let's name this GPT as Bhagavad Gita GPT, and let's quickly add some kind of description and instructions to it. I think that should suffice. For instructions, what this GPT can do, how does it behave, what should it be avoid doing. So we can say that this GPT is like Krishna, God who advises Arjuna, the warrior, during the battle of Kurukshetra. So we are trying to give this more like a personality per se. So we can say using teachings from Bhagavad Gita, so we can just say Gita. It offers, conversational and practical advice to help users navigate. And that's what we want to do. We want a real world advice that we can use in our day-to-day life to navigate, let's say, real world problems, presenting wisdom, clarity. Something of that sort, right? So we've given what this GPT needs to do. It says knowledge. If you upload a file in a knowledge, conversations with GPT may include file contents. So we want this GPT to be catered towards Bhagavad Gita. So let's quickly upload the PDF we downloaded during step 1. So now it's downloading. Let it download. It'll take a few minutes. I'll skip right to where it's already downloaded. Now it's downloaded. Now we can actually go to this create. But what we'll do is just copy this instruction, right? Go to this create button and then just paste this here. Oh, I spelled Krishnan wrong. Sorry. Feel free to test it in the preview window and let me know any refinements you would like to make. Okay. It's actually also given this picture or icon of Bhagavad Gita, which is intelligent. Now let's try to ask Bhagavad Gita some questions. Let me just adjust my screen so that you can see it clearly. On the right hand side, you can see that they have already created a preview that we can use to test our GPT on. Let's ask GPT some questions. So let's start asking questions related to, let's say, personal life, saying, I have a social media app, which is something that distracts me and I know it's not good for my health. What should I do? Let's see what it is. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us the importance of controlling distractions and acting in alignment with our higher purpose, dharma. It's true. So it's given me 4 different steps I can do. Cultivate self-discipline, karma yoga, practice mindfulness, dhyana yoga, redirect energy towards higher goals, seek inner fulfillment, and practical exercise. Actually, it's also given me, because I told it in the instructions saying, tell me something I can do in my real world, which is directly applicable to me, which says 1 week, try digital detox for a few hours daily, use that time for self-reflection, prayer, or engaging in purposeful activities. Notice how it affects your mind and spirit. Interesting. Now let's switch topics and let's ask about are we living in a simulated reality? Because I know Bhagavad Gita has some context on metaphysics, philosophy, and science, but let's see what this comes back with. The Bhagavad Gita offers profound insights into the nature of reality, which can help address your question about whether we are living in a simulated reality. The nature of Maya, illusion. Maya creates a sense of separation and delusion, much like simulation. where the soul identifies with body and material surroundings rather than its eternal spiritual essence. Wow. While the material world may seem real to us, it is temporary and ever changing. The soul, however, exists eternally beyond this transient simulation. Nice. So again, you guys can read it in your time, but just quickly going over, in essence, whether this reality is simulation or not, the teachings of Gita encourage us to focus on transcending the illusion of material existence by recognizing a spiritual identity. Right now that it is spoken about this, let's switch gears and let's talk about office life. Right. Let's say my friend has a manager who takes credit for the work for someone else's work. Right. What advice? Wow. What advice would you give to my friend? Let's see what comes back. The situation your friend is facing can be challenging and frustrating. True, the Bhagavad Gita provides timeless principles that can help navigate such scenarios while maintaining composure, integrity, and focus on dharma, the righteous action. Stay focused on duty, seek constructive solutions, rise above ego, resentment, consult higher authority if needed, trust in divine justice. Practical suggestions as well: encourage your friend, support them, advise them to seek. I think so. As you can see, this is just output after you've given Bhagavad Gita. But in this case, what you can also do, and again, this is all. What you can do is, once you're satisfied with the answers, if you're not, you can go to the left-hand side of the page and you can start telling it to improve itself here on the preview section, or here you can just go and just like basically keep refining the GPT until you're satisfied. But I think this worked pretty good. What you can also do is go to configure page. In the knowledge section, you can upload files which are basically, let's say, Ayurvedic. You can upload Chanakya Niti, right? And then in the create section, go and ask them to train themselves on Veda or Chanakya Niti. So next time you are feeling sick, you can just ask this GPT saying, hey, give me solutions on how to treat fever based on your Ayurvedic knowledge, right? So this kind of application can be used for anything and everything. It basically tells you if you have any specific needs, if you have text available for it, you can create your own GPT, train it on that specific text, and every time you ask a question, it will give you right answers, right? One thing to note here is the instructions here are quite important. I have put a very high level information here, but you like the more informative your instructions are, or the more comprehensive your instructions are, the better it is for the model to be trained. The model will know more if you tell it more specifically what exactly should this GPT or how should this GPT perform. So that's it for today. I'll come back with such similar videos going ahead, but till then, keep following and keep subscribing. Thank you.